I'd like to welcome Harold and Edna Crawford. They have worked with Brian Post for the past 15 years and were the first treatment home parents in Virginia working with some of the most challenging children in the state. Harold, Edna, thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome.
And thank you for your dedication to the kids. It's amazing what you've done. Tell me, I know a lot of these children have been in residential treatment programs, so tell me what is that?
Residential treatment programs, well, when kids are displaced from home for whatever reason or reasons, they come in. The first home we worked in was a shelter care program, and primarily in that residence, we just had to monitor the kids, make sure they were safe, and give them their medication and take them outside and let them play. There was no therapy involved in the home itself because it was a big facility, and we would just make sure they're safe and take their medication. So a residential treatment home is primarily about a place where kids can go so that they don't be on the street, and at least they have food to eat and they're in a safe environment. Well, they're in a, I'd say safe environment, and they just kind of babysit it and just make sure they don't get hurt or get in trouble.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure that you have seen in your 15 years, working with Brian Post, a lot of successes. Does one stand out in your mind? And they may be different for both of you. So Edna, let's start with you.
Well, when we went to Virginia, our very first child that came in the house, she was about to turn 18, and she was very challenged to the point that she thought cursing mean that she was grown. And then working with her and allowing her to be who she was at all times. When she came in the house, she wanted to be the oldest and she wanted to be the baby. Mm-hmm. So that means she wanted that type of attention from us when it came down to different type of privilege. But I'm gonna let Harold do a little more talking on it because I done lost.
That's okay.
Challenging behavior.
Keep going.
Well, the young lady she was talking about, she was our first child to come into the home, and we had learned the stress model, kind of involved ourselves in the stress model, studied it, read it, processed it, turned it inside out. So we really understood the stress model. Yeah. We have also done the emotional work that goes along with the stress model, where we go through a process of getting in touch with our own emotions. So we had done a lot of that before the day came for the young lady to come to our house, and so we felt prepared and ready to go. And so we had balloons and everything, welcome, come on in.
Made it feel good.
Very good, yes. And there was a knock on the door, and we opened the door. There was this young lady standing there, real dark, dressed like a man, just looking real street. Tough street. Okay. And as soon as we opened the door, she started cursing. She started calling us all kind of, well, maybe not us, but I'm sure it was a trauma, but she was cursing and saying, I'm not staying here with these MFers and F these MFers, and she was just going off. She was triggered, which triggered me. Out of all the preparation that I had,
out the window.
Out the window. It was gone.
Oh, no.
No stress model whatsoever, nothing. And so I just froze. And some of the counselors that brought her over started talking to her and kind of worked with her. They finally got her in the house and settled down, but I didn't know anything about the stress model in that moment.
Right.
I didn't know what to do. And she was the kind of person who, like Edna was saying, she wanted all the attention. She wanted everything. And after a while, we developed some kind of a relationship with her after working through the process, actually doing the process of the stress model, and the key there is experience. You have to experience the model. You have to actually put it into practice. And then once you put it into practice and you continue to do it over and over and over, repetition, eventually you begin to experience the shift that takes place in yourself from not allowing these aggressive behaviors to trigger you into your stuff like I was triggered into mine when the knock came at the door. I gradually began to see that. It took quite a while, maybe 6 months, almost maybe a year. But a change, a shift in the way I saw these kids begin to happen in my thinking as I continued to rehearse the stress model and actually practice it, actually do the breathing, actually begin to use language to these kids. We call language of regulation. For example, like if a child is going off and cursing and screaming and yelling, instead of trying to get them to quiet down or isolate them or put them in timeout or do something punishing towards them, we said, I know you're angry. I know you're angry. It's okay to be angry. I'm here to care about you. It's okay. And they're just cursing and going off. Well, we're constantly using words of regulation to let them have a different experience than what they had been having before they came to us.
So if somebody's cursing at you, what are some of the regulation words that you would use?
But I would use, I say, you angry, aren't you? You angry. And if need be, if they're that angry and keep cursing, I say, you so angry, you cursing a lot, right? And I'll start cursing with them. But in my cursing, I'm screaming, yelling, somebody messed you up, not using the word mess,
Yeah,
but
yeah, you're
somebody,
supporting them.
yeah. Somebody messed you up. It wasn't me. I'm here to care about you.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm just as upset as you are that they did that.
There we go. That's it. Yes.
Right. So you're on their side.
Yes. And they begin to feel that.
Yeah.
And see, that's a key right there. A lot of time we try to work with them from a place of thinking or intellect. It's not a, once they're triggered, as Brian says, the thinking becomes confused and distorted. So there's no sense in trying to reason with them.
Right.
But if you understand that that trigger is coming from a place of stress and there's emotional turmoil going on, then you are able to adjust yourself. You can adjust yourself and get yourself into an emotional space where you can continue to relate and you understand why you are doing what you're doing. You're not just doing it haphazardly. You're doing it for the purpose of connecting with them, and you know this connection is happening, and through that connection, you'll begin to influence them emotionally, not just their thinking.
Choose love. Choose love. Choose love.